and I'm just spelling my name, Ari, Attorney Ari Williams, A-R-I Williams, common spelling. Thank you all for being here today. I want to first thank the Cook County State's Attorney, Kim Fox, for doing the right thing and dismissing the charges. This is what justice looks like. I also want to acknowledge everyone who has been impacted by this in any way. To everyone who has supported Ms. Hood and her family through this trying time, we thank you. Yesterday, criminal charges of first-degree murder were dismissed against Ms. Hood and her 14-year-old son, rightfully so. Now that she is free, we think it is important that her story is told and that she is heard.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carlishia, C-A-R-L-I-S-H-I-A. Last name is Hood, H-O-O-D. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the support for me and my family. On June 18th of this year, my life changed. My son's life changed. I've experienced pain in many ways that I would never have thought, never. What happened to me was totally unnecessary. Never in a million years would I have imagined being brutally attacked, beaten, and then arrested. I am thankful that the Cook County State's Attorney dismissed the case. I am also thankful to have my son with me and by my side, and also his charges being dismissed. I thank my family for supporting me and the people all over the world. The people did not play. Yeah. And I just thank God everything was revealed. And just everybody who has been praying and rooting for us, I just thank God for them. That did not go unnoticed. You are all not forgotten. And we are praying for all the families affected by this horrible tragedy. I am now in the process of healing and putting my family's life back together. During this trying time, we ask if, we could please have space to rest and recover from this life-altering situation. And that you all continue to keep us in your prayers. In the near future, I will be able to respond to outpouring of support. Again, I just need a little time to heal and to just get my life back with my baby. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
Take your time, Take your time, baby.
That's it. Yeah, I know.
It's all right, Carla. It's all right, baby. You're strong. You got this. You're strong.
Oh, Jesus.
You're strong. You got this. God bless you. Yes.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Attorney Brandon Brown. That's B-R-A-N-D-O-N. Last name Brown, B-R-O-W-N. This morning, we filed a 4-count complaint on behalf of Carlishia Hood. This complaint is being filed against the City of Chicago and the defendant officers who were responsible for her arrest. The complaint contains counts of malicious prosecution, false arrest, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. We do not take what happened to Ms. Hood lightly, and we intend to pursue this lawsuit, and there will be additional lawsuits forthcoming. I want to add that Ms. Hood and myself, we recognize that there has been a life lost, and so we are praying for the family of this man who lost his life. I don't want that to be forgotten. We appreciate that lives were affected by this incident, and so we don't want to dilute or diminish that. However, Ms. Hood and her son, we believe were wronged, and we intend to pursue that. Ms. Hood is not going to be answering any direct questions. Myself and Attorney Williams will be answering a limited number of questions. However, once Ms. Hood has time, and keep in mind that Ms. Hood was just released yesterday afternoon, and so she needs time. But once she is able to process and reconnect with her family, she will present herself again, and we will make her available, but not right now. We're asking that you give her space. We understand that there have been a number of people going to her home, attempting to contact her at her home. We also recognize that there have been things going on in the World Wide Web that may not necessarily be genuine or without malice. Yes. And so we would ask each and every one of you out there to keep this family in your prayers. Protect this family.
Yes.
Protect this family, and I have good reason to believe that they need protection. And with that, we would open it up to any questions.
Who was the suit filed?
The lawsuit was filed this morning
Where?
in the Circuit Court of Cook County.
And legal argument, I mean, presumably police went to the state's attorney's office for felony review for this case?
That is correct.
Got that approved, so
Well,
what would the legal argument be that
Well,
police shouldn't have arrested her?
well, that'll be something that we'll address in the near future. But that'll be something that we'll address in the near future.
Mr.
I know
Brown,
you
can
didn't
you
address
talk
it in
to
the
us a little
lawsuit,
bit?
though, so
Can you talk a little bit about this, the way this played out? So, the police had put out some video of her to turn herself in. So, with that said, the police would have had to have seen her get hurt or beaten at that point. So then there's this time in between that and this viral video where we're hearing from the state's attorney, more evidence was presented over the weekend. We assume that that's the viral video, but we also know that police had some kind of video in their possession to even put out a picture or an image of her to turn herself in. So is the crux of this that there was a rush to charge? Can you kind of explain that?
Yes, it was an obvious rush to judgment, and
But they would have seen this video and seen her being beaten, so,
Absolutely.
I mean, right?
Absolutely.
That's the right. Why find no fault with the state's attorney's office in terms of charging her?
well, again, we want to thank State's Attorney Tim Fox for doing the right thing and dismissing the charges. With respect to our complaint, it is a legally viable complaint. It is rooted in the law. We understand that the concerns that people may have about the process, and we certainly share those concerns. But right now, I think it's short-sighted to take that direction, and we will, upon further investigation, we may be able to better answer that question.
So what do you believe the police did in her case, if you were to spell it out?
Right. It's in our complaint, and so we have copies here of the complaint.
But can you say it on camera?
Yeah.
What did the police do when they took her into custody? What did they do?
That's what they did. They wrongfully arrested her. And I don't want to go into great detail, and you don't have to be a lawyer to appreciate and recognize that when a woman is violently attacked by a man, an unarmed woman, that she shouldn't be arrested. And if any one of you were to replace Carlishia Hood with your mother, with your sister, with your daughter, if your mother or sister or daughter were attacked in a restaurant when she's trying to order a cheeseburger, would you expect that she would be arrested? What would you do in that situation? And so if anyone can draw any other logical conclusion from that other than that she should not be arrested, I think you understand where our lawsuit is coming from and what it's rooted in.
Why not, when that, there's no defending what the deceased did before the shooting, but when that altercation is happening, why not leave rather than text your son to come into the restaurant?
So we're not going to answer that. We're not going to answer that question. That'll be something that'll come out later.
Why did Ms. Hood
and I
leave
know.
the scene but not stay for police?
Sorry.
Why did Ms. Hood leave the scene but not stay for police to arrest?
So there's video of this, right? So we don't have to go into great detail. There's video that goes over the actual attack and how it transpired, right? So again, as Brandon said, if you put yourself in that situation and you see how fast everything happened, I think you can draw a reasonable inference to that question.
What would your answer be to that question?
My answer is to look at the video surrounding it. It's clear. It's clear how you see an argument. You see everything on the video. I mean, I'm not saying anything that you aren't seeing. And so you see how it transpired from this to this to this in an instant. And an individual that goes in there that don't know, that didn't plan for this to happen, that had no want for this to happen. There's many things that can go through that individual's mind. And her state of mind, I can't tell you that right now. But we're asking you to look at it from a viewer and to come up with a reasonable inference. And yeah, we have a lawsuit pending.
Ms. Williams,
And things will go over in the lawsuit.
what was the fight over in line?
Nothing. She was beaten for nothing.
Well, of course, I mean, nothing would,
But it wasn't a
would,
fight.
what's that?
It just wasn't a fight.
Did he start the conversation with her? Was he telling her to get out of line? I mean, we pick up a little bit of what happened, but I guess a lot of people are trying to figure out how did it build up to him hitting her?
Miss Hood doesn't even understand how it built up. It was unnecessary. It was a vicious attack for no reason.
Yes, I would like to know, you said that there might be some other charges in the future. I was wondering, the excessive bond, $3 million, a definite rush to judgment, and there was a number of other kind of charges, manslaughter, second-degree murder, all kinds of charges. I just find that very difficult to wrap my brain about any of this, especially for a person who has a clean record. I mean, she didn't have all these criminal charges that the other, that kind of bail. I'm just wondering, what was the state's attorney thinking? What was the judge thinking when they could just come up with something so ridiculous? $3 million? They don't get $3 million when they mow down 9 people in a church. So these other people, I've heard, because I haven't seen the video, only the snippets that's been on TV, but I've heard people talking about extra security in that store. If you're the next person in line, you're giving your money to somebody, and that person that you gave the money to, what was wrong with him? If he could accept your money, he can't say, hey, look, guy, we got a line here.
I think the overall answer to your question, there are many things that were rushed in this case. There were many things that shouldn't have happened, and we agree with that. And we're thankful that the Cook County State's Attorney dismissed the charge and that she is now free. She doesn't have to worry about posting that $3 million bail, and she doesn't have to worry about those charges.
Yeah, I had a question. Two questions back there. First, thank you for doing this. For you, I know this healing process is going to start, and you guys can answer this because I know she's not going to speak, but the community is wondering, you see this on social media, everybody's saying, what's next for them? Is this 14-year-old's going to get therapy? Like, what's happening? I know it's only a day since you've been out, but if you guys could get into that, and then also, people are concerned about, retaliation, things like that, with all of this happening, what do you say to that?
Well, as far as the family getting help, we don't want to go into that, but I can assure you that they will be getting help and assistance, and we have received countless contacts for people wanting to help. So thank you for that question. As far as the threats and retaliation, retaliation that have been going out, we are aware of those threats. And again, we talked about it earlier. We're asking that you keep this family in prayer. We're asking that this family be prayed for, that they be protected. I think one of the things that I don't want to fail to mention is the number of people in this community, in our community, throughout the city of Chicago, fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, grandfathers, they are with this family. And I strongly and I truly believe that this community is going to protect this family. And so any threats being made against this family is being made against the entire city of Chicago and the entire black community. And so while we're praying for the family and we understand that people are hurt, I think it should be noted and known that this community, this city has stood up for this family and stood up for this woman and her son. I don't want to go too deep and say the wrong thing, but should the fathers and sons of our community, of the black community, come together, it's a sleeping giant. And so I know we have many members from the church community here. We are, again, we join everyone in prayer. But we will pray for those who would threaten harm against our brothers and sisters.
Will they be in the victim's compensation sought? And I would like to add, please do not post the children's pictures. I mean, that's just the media blurred out one of my nephew's pictures, but people were doing it, so I was just asking, even on my social media, do not post the children's pictures, because that endangers it further. The victim's compensation, would they be in the...
That's something that's still under consideration. Okay. We're not in a position.
What would you say to people who may not be familiar with the legal particulars of this case? What would you say to people who feel like, why a lawsuit? Why not just walk away? The case got dismissed. What would you say to those people who feel like the dismissal should be enough in terms of recompense?
Yes. Well, certainly the position is appreciated. I guess I would say put yourself or your mother or your sister or your daughter in those shoes. And it's simply not good enough for a woman of the community. And keep in mind, we're not going to go into the details of Miss Hood, but this is an upstanding citizen. She is a servant. She is a steward of this city. She was brutally attacked and she was arrested, and she shouldn't have done an hour in jail.
Absolutely.
So put yourself in that situation.
Everything I worked hard for being tarnished.
So that's what we would say to them.
Can I know you said it's in the complaint, but so we have it on tape. Prosecutors approved these charges. You have a homicide. The people responsible left the scene of that homicide. What did the police do wrong in arresting Ms. Hood?
We're going to direct all questions as to the substance of the litigation to the complaint. Again, as we've mentioned, we will represent Ms. Hood at a later date. But as far as anything to the substance of the complaint, we ask that you review the complaint. We lay out our version of the facts and the legal arguments in the complaint. We think it's sufficient and substantial. And any questions that you have, we'd ask that you review the complaint first. What we don't want to do is have a nuanced legal discussion here at a press conference. While I appreciate that everyone here is sophisticated, we would never leave if I broke down the legal detail and the legal nuance of how, what the law is for malicious prosecution and false arrest in the state of Illinois. So please, we'd ask that you just take the complaint as sufficient. And at a later date, we can talk further about it.
Do you have an answer from the attorney's office about why initially the charges came down, since if you look at the video, you're explaining that she's the victim in this. So Where is the basis of the charges to begin with? What was incriminating about it?
Yes, I think the video speaks for itself. I think everybody saw the video. The entire country has seen the video. We, as we have mentioned, we thank the state's attorney's office for doing the right thing and dismissing the charges. And unless
But why were they filed in the first place?
Yes.
that's
Was
something.
the attorney personally involved in this? How did she?
Yes.
What did she do?
So again, we want to thank the Cook County State's Attorney's Office for dismissing the charges. I think now is a good time to wrap up the press conference. We thank you for your
One more thing,
questions.
Mr. Brown, what if that
No more
viral video
questions.
never surfaced?
We
What
thank,
if that,
we thank you for your
sir,
questions.
what if that viral video never surfaced? Do you think the charges would have been dropped?
We thank you for your questions. We thank you for your time. I want to be considerate to my client. This was a great sacrifice and a tremendous effort for her to be here today before you. So we're not going to take any more questions. Her family is here as well. I think now is a good time to conclude. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for being here.